who are we seated with? Or who do you share the same class with? Sometimes it's hurtful. Yeah. So, but with God's grace, I cleared my high school. And life has been difficult for me since I cleared high school because, not in a bad way, but my relatives found it necessary for me to take care of my brother. And sometimes you don't have a job, or sometimes, yes, you have a job, but what you earn is way too little. And it really affects me up to now, both especially mentally, physically, mentally, because I can't say that I'm mentally stable, sorry, because having the thought that sometimes this life is hard, and you just want someone to hold you and tell you, my child, it's okay. Life is hard, it's okay. You don't have a mother to tell you it's okay. You don't have a father to tell you it's okay. And maybe the relatives that will tell you, oh, life is hard for everyone. Maybe why don't you run to your mother in Langata and tell her it's okay. Sometimes I see my brother maybe being shouted at, being mistreated, and I know I don't have the willpower to stay with him, because the next thing I'll be told is like, you know what, we're doing you a favor. We're doing you a favor to have him, so you can well pack and leave. So whatever life throws at you, you just take it, because you don't have a parent to stand with you and who is going to shut that person down and tell them, well, these are my kids, leave them. You don't have. So you just accept anything that comes around you. The only person that you can cry to is God. God is here for everyone. I think I've made my story as short as possible. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. You're so strong to give us a story. You're amazing, yeah. Linda.
Wow, Natasha. I've known your story, but anyway, sorry. Also, for me, my mom was in prison as well, Langata, for 2 years when I was in high school. This was when I was in Form 4. I was in Form 4, second term. My mom was taken away from us and put in prison. And this story is a story I usually find it so easy to talk about, because she's out at the moment. But you see how sorry. Natasha, your story has really, okay. So, okay. My mom was in prison for 2 years. This was when I was in Form 4. I was busy studying for my KCSE, and I had a dream of becoming a doctor. Like that's, and when I was about to do my KCSE, she wasn't there. So I wasn't able to continue dreaming that dream, because it was something we always wanted to do with her. Like she was always there telling me, yeah, you can do it. But when she was taken away in first term, after mocks, I asked my dad, where is mom? He was like, we'll tell you, don't worry, we'll tell you. You just be okay, we'll tell you. it's something he wasn't able to tell us because he thought maybe we were not strong enough. So eventually he told us where she was, then we went to Langata to see her. So fast forward to finishing high school, doing my KCSE, and I got a C+. So I went to see her, and I told her I wasn't able to do well in my sciences, and she advised me to maybe pursue teaching, and she said either do teaching or law. But you see, for me, I had this anger in me because I was like, why did God have to take away my mother during this time? Like, is there something I can do differently? So I chose law because of her. I chose law because I wanted to stand up for people like her, you know. So doing law was a journey because sometimes we never used to have school fees. So like during those 4 years in university, I was able to see God's hand in many things. So eventually my mom came out after 2 years. Then Clean Start, there's an organization called Clean Start. It held our hand during that whole period of during that whole period of my mom getting out of prison, us actually having to like learn how to be her children again. Because once a mother is taken away from a family, I believe things kind of shift. For us, things shifted because my dad had to take on that role of being both mother and father. So when she came out of prison, she had to learn how to be a mother all over again, and we had to learn how to be her children because for 2 years she wasn't around. We used to go see her, like even people at Langata used to say, is she the only prisoner there? Because we always used to go see her. But when she came out, she found that we had already grown up. Like we grew up and learned how to survive without her, which is a sad thing. But so when she came out, she actually had to learn how to be our mother again. And speaking to her as recently as I think even a few months ago, she said it's something she hasn't actually learned yet because it's something once someone is taken and put into prison, they come out into society. Now they have to start finding themselves all over again. And till today, this is almost 10 years down the line, she still hasn't discovered herself. And I thank God for Clean Start because whenever they have something that they feel that will help my mother, they always call us. Rather, they call her, and I'm always behind just because I feel like if I let her go, I won't see her again. Like, I'm always behind my mother. So, yeah, sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause. Another question I would like to ask is, how did you feel maybe when you received the news, or maybe if you were there, how did you feel when your mom was arrested? Were you devastated, or can explain for us?
Natasha, would you like to go?
Well, when mom was taken away, I was 6 years. So the first day, I never saw her in the house. The second day, I never saw her in the house. Then the third day, that's when my auntie came. We packed and we left. When I saw her, was in television, handcuffed, and I was shocked. I was like, wait a minute, am I seeing mom with handcuffs? My mom was a saint. Oh my God, in handcuffs. I was shocked. And I was only 6. I didn't know anything. I was only 6. And 6 years, you know, people in handcuffs are either they're bad people. You know, they're bad. You just know they're bad. They're bad. And I didn't want to believe that my mom, my dad, they're bad people. So I was like, oh my God, am I a child of, okay, who are these people who brought me up? Who are they? Because I don't know them. Because people in handcuffs. So I was a mess.
Thank you so much. Leila, you can.
Yeah, as I said, for me, my mom was taken away from us when I was in high school. So I was slightly older. I was just about to turn 17 years. And as I also said in my story, it took my dad a long time to tell us where exactly my mom was. Because when the case was happening, when they used to go to court, we never used to go for those sessions because we were young. So, and we
21 it's a long time. Yeah.
For Leila, how have you experienced the justice system?
As an advocate, I was able to go through her case now as an advocate as we speak, and I saw so many loopholes, and I was like, if the criminal justice system is fair, why could they see all these things during that time? Why did they have to take away someone who was the breadwinner at the moment, who was the glue that kept our family together? Like, I felt that it wasn't fair. Like, the criminal justice system was blind.
Another question, mostly for Natasha, because Leila, you told us you were able to visit your mom. Were you able to visit your mom, or?
At that time, I remember the first time I went to court. I think I was 7. Yeah, it's after a whole year I had not seen her. When I saw her on TV, newspapers, because it was like a routine. It's either I see her on a newspaper or TV. And it was like a norm. It was like a norm for almost 2-3 months. It was like a norm. So yeah, after not seeing her on papers and TV, things have cooled down because her case was it was murder. So yeah. After 1 year, I went to court to see her, and I remember the judge at that time saying that children are not allowed in court, and it was my first time seeing mom. I just wanted, to see her, to touch her, to tell her how much I miss her. But even in court, I was told to get out. So in Langata women's prison, we used to go, but I remember when I went was, I think in class 6. Yes, that's when they opened a forum where mother and children can sit and talk and at least have like a family bond. That is the first time, like, in a long time. It was the first time in a long time I got to see my mom. She had changed. They were wearing that uniform, and for me at that time, when I went there, I didn't know what to say to her. We had lost touch. I didn't know whether to call her Anne or to call her mom, or I don't know. I didn't know what to call her. I just went there, and she was so happy, but my heart was not there at that moment, because it was long. I had even, her face was almost failing, but yeah, but at least I was older. I was understanding some of the things. Yeah, but it was not a very good moment for me, honestly. Yeah.
My God, thank you so much. Let's give them a hand as we continue. Personally, I know it's traumatizing and it's scary for you to accept that your mom was in jail. How, until this point, how did you stay positive together with your siblings? How did you cope with the feeling of your mom's being in jail? So, like, how did you stay positive for your siblings and also for you? Yeah.
For me, as I said, when my mom was taken away, we had to learn how to survive without her. So my dad took up the role, and I have a younger brother and an older sister. So we became a unit, and it was us against the world. Like, that's how we survived. Because on some days we all we had was maybe tea and bread, but we survived because we were together. We were like, we can get through this because we are together. So until this moment, it's taken me a while to actually be able to talk about this story without breaking down. Or maybe I feel like maybe I actually accepted the fact that she was in prison and she's out now, but we are now learning how to survive with her now as a mother. Because even for us, it's still hard. It's still hard because thinking back to that time, there are some days you are going through something and you can't go and talk to your father because this was something you used to talk to with your mother. So I feel like being that close unit, that us against the world, was what made us survive. Yeah.
Well, for me, it's different with Layla because, I was the firstborn, then my brother came along, and I've never shared a room with my brother. He's either with one caregiver, so everyone survives, kila mtu ana survive kivyake. For me, I did survive through prayer, through God. He's my strength, he's my refuge. So that is why I'm here today. Yani, this strength that I have right now is just because of God. Yeah, just because of God. No one else, just God. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Another question. What changes would you like to see in the child justice system now? Like, if you were to give changes and they were to be changed, what changes would you like to see in the child justice system?
The child justice system or the criminal justice system? Both of them?
Yeah, both of them.
Okay, for the child justice system, I feel like non-custodial sentencing. Like, for mostly women who have children, like Natasha's story, her mother should have just maybe be given, I don't know, community service, or should have just been let to be outside and go for the case, the court sessions and stuff while she was outside. Because I believe as a mother, she was no flight risk because she had children she had a child, Natasha, who was young at the moment. So non-custodial sentencing would be amazing for So that would also prevent mothers who are pregnant to be taken to prison and giving birth in prison and having your child stay with you there for 4 years, and the child just having to grow up in such an environment, and just all that child knows is the prison environment, which I believe during their formative years is not the best environment for a child. And also in the criminal justice system, I'd like to see more more vigilant. Like I feel like, according to me, my mom's case had many loopholes. Like if whoever her defense lawyer was, should have been more vigilant in what they were doing, and maybe if I was her advocate then, maybe she wouldn't have gone into prison. I don't know. I'm not. I feel like, yeah, that's what I'd say for the children and the criminal justice.
Okay. For me, my mom's case was it was murder. So when I was young, I didn't know all this because I was just 6. And I told you my case, there were a lot of newspapers around, but my auntie, most of the time, my auntie used to hide them in a place where I could not get them. So when I grew older and, I'm a girl, so I need to do some house chores and everything. One day I was snooping around, cleaning. I found some newspapers, yeah? And I decided, you know what? I'm going to read what happened. So I read. Yeah, 2003. My mom and my dad were sentenced to death, according to the papers. So my mom stood up and she said she was pregnant with my brother. That is what saved her. And if maybe not for that, right now, who knows? Maybe I will be an orphan. The system didn't want to know whether she had a child or she didn't have a child. I think they didn't care. So for that, I think something has to be done. And also for the child justice system. My brother was born in prison. And I remember when we took him out of prison, he was so thin, he was so skeleton-like, lack for a better word. He was so malnourished. I'm sorry to say, but I don't know what happens in there with mothers with kids. But what I'm saying my truth. I'm not making anything up, but I'm saying my truth. And when we took him out of there, he was in bad shape. And right now, my brother still struggles with people in uniform and with that place. He does not like it a single bit. Sometimes I do try. Okay, he was young, but I think some details are still vivid in his mind. So a lot of changes need to be done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sure all of us are here for one reason, to make the justice system fit for children.
After finishing class 8, I thought, yeah, maybe my mom will be there to celebrate with me, but she wasn't. 208, those are 8 years down the line.
speech. Leila, you can.
For me, my mom was in prison for 2 years, and now since university. So that's what she's been doing. But as I said, she's still trying to find herself. She's still trying to find her footing, because she keeps saying that prison is something you wouldn't even wish on your worst enemy, because it shifts you, because you become someone else. Because for her it was a crime she didn't commit. So when she went inside, she went and met different kind of people. So inside there, you actually have to unlearn yourself. Then you become that survivor. Then when you come outside, you now have to accept that you're outside, and now you have to change all over again. So it's a process.
Thank you so much. Leila and Natasha also, what advices would you give the criminal and the child justice system, just for maybe the other children who are also in the child justice system? Because we have so many listeners here, and maybe they can take up your advices, and put them forward.
Okay. For me, I'd like to say that you're not alone. My mom was in prison as well, and I'm here. There are days, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, like it's never going to be easy. There are days which you'll have you'll have breakdowns, you'll have a hard time accepting the fact that your mom or your parent or your father is in prison, but you're not alone. And Clean Start is also there to, Clean Start and other organizations are there to help you. So, yeah, you're not alone.
Well, this one is a tough one for me. But what I'll say is that, well, for me, what has kept me on toes is God. So my advice is, if you have a relative who's in there and they have children, you as a relative, please do your best. Don't mistreat this child. Give this child as much love as you can. Show this child that you're not alone. Because if you don't give this child that child will either turn to drugs, go to the wrong company, or even think of suicide, worst case scenario. Or they may suffer mental illness, because this is something that affects you. It makes your self-esteem to be so low. Sometimes you tend to hate yourself, and you see yourself not worthy of maybe anything. But for me, I thank God. I know Him. I know God. And when I read the scripture every day, He tells me, you're not alone, my child. Because His word says, the people who put their hope and trust in me, I don't put them to shame. And up to now, even though I go through a lot, my God has never left me. He's never left me to shame. In anything I do, I see myself prosper. Even though my parents are inside, when I tell people, when no one knows me and they find me outside, they're like, well, I can see you're doing good and everything. But I think that's God's grace. That's God's grace. My advice is, love these children. Just love them. And don't speak ill of their parents. and don't let them feel like they're outsiders or they're children of criminals, or look them as if, just love them. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. You can have your seats. That was amazing. You guys are strong, and thank you so much. Yeah.
A round of applause even for Michelle, moderating this in a great way. Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Leila. I don't know what you picked, but I picked a lot of things that emerge from here. One of the most recent that I've come across is what is called trauma brain injury. There's a lot of research going on now linking the children in the justice system to that. That we've got to be able to be sensitive that when a child is in contact with the law or in contact with the justice system, there are a number of things, whether they are children who are in conflict with the law, or those who are witnesses, or those who are left behind. And I'm very grateful too that as a country, I think we're making good moves. If you remember recently, His Excellency the President did issue a directive that we should have a policy for care of children in the prisons, who accompany their mothers in prisons, and also that we should be able to think about the children who are left behind by the caregivers. And you can see that the impact of this is not just a moment. And that is why I think we need to appreciate that every day, for children issues, it's not the thing that we will do in the next 5-year strategy. It is what you do today. So our clarion call for you, all of us today, is to say, leo ndio ile siku. Today is that day when you can be able to make a difference. And to just help us appreciate this further, I want to invite Honorable Jacqueline Kibosia, who is a children magistrate in Makadara Law Courts. And thank you, Makadara Law Courts and the Court Users Committee, the CCUC. I know you've been really of great support as a task force. You also allowed us to pilot the Juvenile Justice Information Management System. So we're already learning a lot from you, and we've learned a lot from Honorable Kibosia. We look forward to hearing from you. Do you have anything for Mheshimiwa?
Honorable Jacqueline, maybe before we start, you can just greet the people and give them an introduction of yourself before we continue.